Hello, myself Sundar Ramkrishna. Here basically we are discussing the PHP topic. PHP web server page. In this basically we are discussing about the add, modify, delete, receive cookies. Basically we already do. Add, modify, delete, and database. So one person wonder what is this here basically. So simply the word says add. Add means what? You are something adding. Modify means what? You are going to change something. Delete means what? You are going to delete something. And another is display basically. Display means just display purpose. So here basically whatever database basically which we are using in PHP, we are going to use basically that basically contains set of data. For example, MySQL server you are going to use. You are going to use SQL server. You are going to use some other server, MySQL server, MS SQL server. So that contains a database. That contains the data. So that you required something basically from PHP. Something means front end screen you required and back end screen. One person was, yeah, basically I want to display a list of users basically. So the normal person who knows the SQL server, MySQL server, they will what do? Select star from user. That's all. They will be going to do this only. But the person who don't know database, who are basically not aware about the PHP, SQL server, what they will do? So they required some front end screen, and in front end screen basically you will be writing some code that will be displaying the set of database. So they told that basically, for example, you are creating one employee registration screen. In that basically the employee comes, employee goes. Comes means add, employee goes means delete. Employee basically got given some wrong information, then basically you have to change the information. And employee basically display means you are displaying the employee information. So that basically one HR people basically told that basically I want this type of application. Then basically what you are going to do? So you are going to create some this type of application that is going to add the data, going to display the data, you are going to modify the data, you are going to delete the data. So this type of application is required. So that time basically the add, modify, delete concept basically comes into the picture basically. So that is add, modify, delete. User access basically. User access means you can say here basically I will take one simple example. One person told that there is one client and there is one application. So there is one client. So client can be multiple, but server is one only. Clients can be multiple. So assume that basically there are 100 clients, and in these 100 clients basically they are accessing one server basically. So the requirement of the application is like that. One variable basically is supposed to be access to all the users. So that what is access basic that I am trying to explain here from session on application variable basic, that basically you are going to see soon basically what actually session is and what actually application is, that I will explain a little bit. Session means only one user basically can see one information. So the requirement is like this: per user can able to see their data only, and one data is supposed to be displayed to all the users. For example, login password he entered, and basically he done the login. So that login and password basically he has entered, that only he can able to access na. Other basically can't access. That is basically session basically. Single level user. Application means multiple level. Means one variable. For example, date is there. So date is basically the common thing. It can be displayed to all basically. So that basically can be stored in the application variable basically. So here that is variables basically. The normal variables which we are going to see, that basically I am talking about. So that is the access basically. Encrypt means basically the data basically which we can't see basically. That basically everybody knows. Image files are there that are basically encrypted. That basically are the that's basically are very high level programming basically, and that's image read, image write. That basically all comes into the picture. Now basically, what why PHP? One person told that why PHP is required basically because it's open source. It's a free basically. That is the first thing basically. Open source means nowadays basically it's not open source basically. Somebody are there basically who is going to integrate the stuff basically. So here one person told that previously basically there was only one PHP, right? .php file was there, but slowly the PHP got famous and the frameworks started creating. That is the Cake framework, Symfony frameworks are there, Laravel frameworks are there. So from the person to that, what is this frameworks basically? So frameworks means the task basically is supposed to happen very fast. So that's why basically people created frameworks. And in that frameworks basic framework means set of functions, set of procedures, set of functionality basically which is given in the PHP file basically. Otherwise basically if you are simply creating one application in PHP, then you have to create everything basically. You don't have any frameworks basically. You don't have any ready-made functions, utilities. But in Symfony frameworks, ready-made utilities are basically given basically. In that basically, which all are the operating system basically. Windows is there, Linux is there, Unix is there. So we basically mostly people use is Windows and Linux basically. So PHP are famous basically in this only basically. People use basically PHP in other OS also. But PHP actually is very old basically. Very old means very old. But nobody was using that basically. That's why basically the old operating systems are also basically here written basically. But PHP is very old basically. Nobody was using that. There were some few DLL files basically, which was created by some developers basically, but we basically don't know the name basically. So they created it and nobody basically was using. But slowly basically it got famous as per the time basically requirement came. They basically so like this basically in IT industry lots of things are created already. As per the time comes, that basically gets launched basically. So PHP servers today Apache and IC. So whenever basically you are going to, for example, one application you are creating, right? So that time basically you have to deploy something basically somewhere. So that basically is IaaS basically and Apache basically. There are the servers basically. In that basically you do the configurations of each and every files and you run the file from that server basically. So that basically we will be going to see. It's used in very wide range of databases basically. So in the last previous video basically I have displayed that if condition, while conditions, that all one person told that can we basically connect this everything to that diagram basically. So anybody basically if can what to say basically can change that image file basically which I have written, then that would be good basically because it's very depth basically. I have just displayed if condition fire if condition for loop while loop basically, but in real basically lots of deep things basically are there which is connected to the programming. So the person basically who are good programmers basically they can connect with that image file and they can basically draw a big image file basically and can have a good image file and basically they can have a good repo basically in the market basically. So here basically if you want to download any PHP basically the PHP dot www.php dot net is the official website basically. In that basically you can file the you can have the everything basically. One person told that what basically here install basically installation is. Installation means step by step process basically. Somebody basically creates installation just within one click. Somebody use next means they basically required some configuration. As per the more installation happens, more checkbox gets clicked, more space is required basically. So that are the simple definitions of the installations basically. What are installations? So here basically we have seen up to the installation. Next video basically we are going to see a little more on this.